So we are live in the YouTube also. So very good morning, and we are going to have two video presentations. One Unit 3 and another one is Unit 4. So we are waiting for the people who are responsible for Unit 3 and 4, and people for 4 is available here. Ritu is in the group. We are waiting for Vishwas, Juhi, and Anjan. Once they join, immediately we can. Okay, Vishwas is here. Okay,
Professor, I'm here.
Okay, fine, right. And where is Juhi?
I'll just find out.
Okay, Ritu, find out about Ranjana.
Good morning, sir. Usha here.
Very good morning, Usha.
Sir, I'm trying to connect with Ranjana.
Okay, fine. Or else we can go ahead because any one person also available here, right?
Hi, Arul sir. Hi, Ritu. I'm present here. Anjana this side.
Okay, Anjana, right. Only
I missed the conversation.
Okay, Vishwas, please try to connect with the Juhi. Then we can go ahead with that.
Sir,
Okay, meanwhile, I'll start presenting my screen.
Good morning, sir. I had a small query.
Yeah.
So when will we be receiving our assignments for this session so we can begin, or should we refer to the one that's available online?
Vidhi, most likely we will upload it by next week, by either early next week, either Monday, Tuesday, or mostly before Friday. I'm sure we will try for Monday, Tuesday. If not possible, then at least Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. But definitely, 100% definitely it will be available before Friday.
Also, I observed as per the like the details given on the website, there was a certain pattern we need to follow for the first page. So should we avoid our assignments in a spiral binded way, or should, because they were like direct, just a thread tied assignment basically. So is it that we cannot get it spiral binded and put it together and do?
Your choice, because spiral cost you a little more. So that's what we never recommend anything which requires money. So anything is works for us. But only thing is just put it in a proper order and give it to them. That's the only thing, because it should be because a regional center and study center, they'll use it in a higher quantity of assignments, right? So that at least one or two papers should not be misplaced. But Vidhi, remember that.
Yes, sir.
Wait a minute. The last two cycles we were accepting assignments through online. Okay, so I'm not sure about this coming March or April cycle. Maybe
good morning,
online,
friends. My name is Vishwas Kurunkar. I, along with my partner, Juhi Sneha, are going to talk about Unit 3 for writing and print media. The presentation is made by both of us.
This is I'm playing that video. So that's what I was telling Vidhi. last two cycles, due to the COVID situation, we were accepting assignments through online, both online and offline.
Right.
Most likely that may be continued, or if situation become normal, then we may go back to the normal, means only offline, no online. So, but anyway, whatever case, it has to be handwritten. So go ahead with the starting the assignments and start writing the assignments, and use any A4 sheet, whether it's ruled or unruled. It's okay, but we have given a detailed guideline in the program guide. You can refer the program guide.
Sure, sir. Okay. Thank you.
Are you
Sir,
from
very
Delhi?
good morning. I
Vidhi?
have a query
Yeah.
related to practical and assignments. Should we use the plain A4 paper or should we use a ruled paper that comes for practical lines?
Arita, whether it's a practicals or theory assignments, our concern or evaluators' concern is what you have written that. And we never go very specific to the paper details.
Okay.
And A4 sheet is better. I think you can maintain the A4 sheet. The ruled or unruled, that's quite open. But use one side, don't use double side.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So, Vishwas, Juhi is here, or shall we play the video?
I am not.
Hello, sir. Hello. Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello, sir. Very good morning. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Sir, some students were asking about the assignments and the examinations related to them on the Telegram group. So I'm really confused. Could you please shed some light, like on the same, like they were asking about giving exams on the, like, submitting the assignments for the topic you are giving the exam. So I'm really confused. How will it happen, and what is the criteria?
Criteria in the sense, for any term and exam, the condition is you need to submit your assignment before sitting for exam. That's a basic rule. Okay, whether you're writing in June or December, before writing exam, your assignment should have been submitted to the regional center or study center. Okay, that's a basic rule. So without assignments, you are not eligible to write an exam. That's a one rule. And then what's your second question about exam? Your first exam will be in June 2021. Announcement regarding that will come sometime in the March. You need to apply. You have to pay 150 rupees for each paper.
Sir, your voice is breaking. It's not clear.
Because somebody opened I think others they kept mic open. That's why it's my voice is breaking.
Okay. Hi everyone. I request you to kindly switch off your mic. I can't hear sir's voice.
Seems like Aditi Sharma has her mic open, and there was a lot of noise coming from her side.
Yeah. That usually disturbs others. Yeah.
Yes.
Arita Banerjee
Sir,
also.
voice is breaking.
Yeah, you please mute yourself.
It's clear now.
Arita, mute yourself, and others also please mute yourself. Whenever you are asking questions, just unmute and then ask questions and mute yourself. So I was talking about the exam form. That form will come sometime around March, and you need to apply through on IGNOU website. 150 rupees you have to pay for exam fee, and assignment needs to be completed. In the examination form, there's a one question: have you submitted the assignment? You have to click yes, assuming that you have submitted the assignment. Then pay the fee, and you will get the hall ticket sometime 15 days before the exam. If it's a June exam, means May 15th or May 3rd week or 4th week, you will get the hall tickets. And examination center, you have to select within your regional center, not necessarily your study center. Suppose you are from Bombay, within that regional center, and if you go to select Bombay, it will list around 10-15 exam centers. You can select any one as per your convenient location, place. So these are the basic criteria for assignments and exams. Hope this is clear to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So there's one more query. If you could just tell us if there's something we need to keep into consideration when we are writing the assignments or the exam. I think exam ones we would be coming on later. But for the assignments, what is that we should take into consideration while we are writing it to assure that we are getting the maximum credits of or the marks
Okay,
in the assignment?
okay, thanks, Vidhi. That's a very good question. If you look at our assignments, early assignment also, we never ask any questions which is just replicating the content from the units. If you look at the questions, always our questions are application oriented. So read the unit, apply in certain context. And sometime we might have asked you to write a story, new stories. So and secondly, so application side, please understand the questions clearly and what is being asked. You have to try to answer that questions. Secondly, every questions we might have given some word limit. So on an average, don't cross the limit. 10 plus or minus 10%, it's okay, but you don't cross that limit. That will be much better because in the media industry space, time is very crucial. So this is the starting point for you to practice that. And these are two one, and then presentation part, that's your personal choice of using the colors, presenting in a very good hand, because it should be readable. And if you are using some graphics explaining it, that how much effort you are taking while presenting your answer, that's the main criteria we'll do. And the quality of answer, of course, that matters.
Right, sir. So, for example, one of the the production portfolio assignments. Obviously, once we come on that, like for example, we have this question in our assignment which says, you have to write a report on a certain situation. Now that report could be relevant to the current scenario. Obviously, we are writing it in February. That the news is something that loses its importance within 24 hours. So if we are writing something in February, I hope it's not that by the time the assignments reach the main person, the news is not absolute by then. So what should we?
Yes, I think this question was raised in the Telegram group. Even I gave the answer. Whenever you are writing assignment, suppose you might have covered the assignments in over the period of time. Not necessarily that all the assignments you'll do it in within a week's time. You're correct. Practicals you may start in March. Assignments you may start in February. And the practicals also, one assignment you'll do it in the first week of March. The last assignment may be in the first week of May. So in the 2 months time, the story may be different, scenario may be different, or you might have started the assignment by March and you might have completed by April. By the time that the 2 months, the news changes very drastically, even within 24 hours also. So always I recommend that whenever you completing the assignment, either in the beginning or end, mention that this story was filed on this date. Finish it. So on that day, it was a main story. Maybe after 2 months, maybe different case. But while writing my story that day, while I'm attempting that story with that priority, mention the date. It was filed on that date. That's it. That's more than enough.
Right, sir. Because even if we like read the newspapers or anything that we do, even on a daily basis, now newspapers have a date. I agree, but I think when we are taught report writing, it is also mentioned that you mention the place, you mention the date, so it eventually is giving out the place and the date that
Right.
we are
Vidhi,
referring
if
to.
you look at the practical portfolio or some of the theory assignments, you might have seen the assignments are talking about writing a news story. So news story means should be typically like a news story. It should start with a headline, then you can use your byline, then date,
Right.
then place, then go as per the inverted pyramid if it's a news story. If it's a feature, then you don't mention the date. Feature normally newspapers never carry the dates. Sometimes they mention the place. Future is little applicable to over a period of time, not necessarily within 24 hours news cycle. So if you see the question, if it is a news story, write it like a news story. And if it is a feature, and do it like a feature.
Right, sir. Okay, got it. This is clear.
Okay, and I'll take up the questions later, but first we'll finish the video. And now I'm playing unit. Okay, I'm just presenting my screen to the Google Meet people, and automatically it will relate to the YouTube. And so once you confirm that my screen is available to you, then I'll start playing. Is it available?
No, sir, we can't see your screen.
No, sir.
Yes, it's available now. We can see you, sir.
Depends upon my internet speed and my system, because too many things are happening: Google Meet, streaming, sharing, and all the other things. Okay, now it's starting, I guess.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Now it is visible.
Okay, yeah. And this video is being created by the two of our students. One is Vishwas, another one is Juhi. Vishwas is available in this Google Meet, and he will address the questions after the presentation. If Juhi also available later, then she will join that. So listen to the video, and please mute yourself. That will give better audio quality. And also you can disable your video. That will give better video bandwidth to stream the video. Okay, thank you. I'm playing this video.
And I wish to tell you, Juhi had also created a video. Good morning, friends. My name is Vishwas Karunkar. I, along with my partner, Juhi Sneha, are going to talk about Unit 3 for Writing and Print Media. The presentation is made by both of us. And I wish to tell you, Juhi had also created a video for that, but somehow we were not able to edit and upload that video and combine it together along with our presentation today. So the topics that we have covered here will be how to write hard news and soft news, learning essential elements of headlines and introductions, and understanding different writings for newspaper. The while we are talking about the introduction, we must remember that news media has is considered to be the most reliable and authentic media. Something that has been printed in a news media is considered the reality or the fact, and people watch for that. And it is the most reliable and most effective way to communicate with a complete large population in a different category. So it's not only a newspaper, but it will also include magazine and all other types of material. We will focus our discussion today with about the newspaper and the magazine. So in any type of print media, effective writing becomes very important. We have learned how to write effectively, but this is the time that we apply our learning into the actual writing for print media. As we understand, the main purpose of writing for a print media is to convey information and give reader a deeper understanding about a particular subject matter. While we are doing so, let us understand what are the different types of uh, uh, media writing and that media that we are talking about. Sorry about this. Need to connect power. So, types of different writing are we are writing for the magazine, and when we're writing for the newspaper, there are articles, there are editorials, there are features, and most important part is all this will have introductions and attractive headlines. Let us begin with writing for a newspaper. While we are writing for a newspaper, we focus on important information that is there. So, the hard news and the soft news are two types of news that we discuss about. And this hard news will give you a complete information about important events which has greater political, cultural, social, or economic values. And those are interest to the common people at large. So that is an important aspect of hard news. Hard news always looks for facts, and there is no opportunity for opinionate give biases in the whole hard news. And it is advised by people that okay, we collect that information ourselves. I mean, if we are depending on the source, we must be careful to record every aspect of that information from that source. Whatever the quote people are talking about, that must be recorded, so that in case of any situation, we should be able to reproduce those. So, while writing the hard news, there are typical formats, what that is called as 5 Ws and 1H. This is a rule that is applied, and that generally covers who, what, why. So, when we talk about who, what, why, this is it is subject that we are going to deal with it, an event that we are going to cover about it, the reason and motive about the subject, time of the event, place of the event, how did that event occur. So while writing it is information in 5 Ws and 1H, an inverted pyramid structure is applied, and important aspect of that hard news becomes it should be very accurate information. It should be brief as much as possible, because newspaper have limited space, and in front page or in inside pages also we want to give maximum information covering complete geography that the newsprint is targeting about. It should be clear, and it should be connect with the common person in their easy to understand language. So while these stories are there, a discriminatory angle of the writer about anybody should not be there, and there is no possibility of passing some judgment about an event or an activity from their side. So when we speak about inverted pyramid, so the most important information which is gathered when we talk about 5 Ws and 1H comes at the top. Uh, the subject, the time, the event location, and things like that will come there. It will be followed by important details, and at the last, we give the background information. This is the structure followed for the hard news. The soft news is another aspect of it, which has it is a news, of course, but it is put in an entertaining manner, and it all necessary information is given, but we try and bring a particular angle to that story, it's a humanitarian angle, and that angle is decided by the author based on uh, what readers that he's targeting to. So soft stories are mostly information about entertainment and lifestyles that covers if we are bringing some humanitarian angle, that is important here. Now, structure of a soft story when we talk about is inviting headlines. Those are important. We will talk about headlines in detail sometime later. Introduction becomes very important. When we have powerful few initial sentences, readers is engaged into the story, and the detail of the stories that will come after the introduction, third and fourth paragraph, and there has to be a message at the end. Soft stories will have message that is to be communicated to the reader. So this will also engage the reader, and he will read till the end of that. Now we will talk about the feature writing. Features are basically longer news stories. And when we are talking about longer news stories, as we say, there are some conclusions are communicated at the end of the stories. It will have, of course, the introduction, a body that will cover the details about it based on the information that is collected, the reflection of that reporter, whoever is writing about that story. Uh, he will decide how to put that information in an engaging manner, and of course, this again will have no scope for imagination, and your biases to be included in the whole aspect. So now, next comes is the what are the different types of features. When we talk about informative features, normally it deals with various stories that a reporter or a newspaper wishes to give its reader information about a particular thing. Say ISRO launching various satellites, and one of the purposes. It could be an agriculture automation that is being talked about, or it could be the agriculture farmers agitation that is being dealt with. What are those different laws that are covered? The human interest features will have different stories about typical human interest that newspaper and news magazine things targeting their crowd. Historical features will have information about and dynasty, about a historical place. Remember that we must stick to the facts. Historical feature will have a complete, importance to the facts that is there. There are other features also. There are satirical features, as the name explains. Those features will cover that. How to features will deal with how to do certain things, how to handle a technical aspect, how to live happily, kind of a thing. And the seasonal and theme features will also based on a particular event, or it's an Olympic, or it's some game thing, or it's an Durga Puja or specific event. People write stories about theme-based features during that time. When we are writing an article, it is important that we find some motivation so that you are also enthusiastic about writing a story, and the interest and enthusiasm is reflected into the story. When we think about a reader and the target audience that we are considering, so it will also add more space for us to find out or carry out more research on that particular topic, so that the need of the reader is covered into that. While considering titles, we must write or think about multiple titles, write at least three, four titles, and consider the best option about that. The style and structure is adaptive based on the publication and the reader. But the most important thing is articles offer solution of the problem that is being discussed at the end. Without the solution that is being suggested at the end, the article becomes open-ended. So the editorial is again a most important aspect of a newspaper. It mostly conveys views of that newspaper, the approach that what they really want to explain or persuade or convince their audience about in a stimulating and offering insight and entertaining manner. It is said to be a journalistic essay, and it will, of course, have introduction, a body, and a conclusion. Editorial people have a subject-wise specialist in the editorial board. Somebody will cover the economic affairs. Somebody will cover external foreign affairs, or political issues, or health issues, or agriculture aspects of it, and those editorial aspects are covered based on the team that is writing the editorial. So the classification of editorials are based on various aspects of it. It could be a purpose, it could be a composition, the content, or geographic relevance that we are trying to cover in that particular editorial. So now we are coming to writing about very good headlines. It is normally observed that 60% of the reader they first take a glance only at the headlines, and if headlines are catchy, engaging, attractive, stimulating the reader's interest, then they go about the article. At least they will go to the introduction part of it, and so therefore the good headline needs to be very accurate. That will reflect a representation of the story that is being told about, and it needs to be very specific, highlighting the incidents, and needs to be concise, because normally it is put in a very bold font, and needs to there is no space in a newspaper to cover a very long headline. So about when reader is engaged in the headline and starts reading introduction, so, what are the important aspects of the introduction? So, this covers the most important part of the story, and although it follows 5H and 1W, the introduction should cover only the what part of it. All detailed aspects will cover into further story body of further 2 3 paragraphs that we are going to cover in that particular story. And the typical formula that is recommended for introduction is 220. So that's two lines and maximum 18 to 20 words per line. So it is always advisable if normally quotes are not given in the headlines or intros. Sorry, but in case you want to give quotes, that should be offered in indirect speech. And to write intros, if we put active voice, the intro becomes shorter. So to summarize, it should be straight, simple, attention grabber, compelling to read further detailed story. Introduction should be correct in grammar and contain relevant information. So while after we talk about introduction, let us discuss about now the last part of our presentation, which is writing for magazines. And the most important part here is when we are writing for magazines, it is for a specialized reader which is interested in getting more details that are not available or not possible to give in a newspaper. So these are mostly the well researched articles or stories. Those are covered. So because the periodicity is longer, it's not daily time pressure. So these are well researched stories. So naturally, it offers flexibility of style to the author. He need not stick to the 5 Ws and 1H. Um, Facts are offered, analytical information is offered. The stories have all equal importance. There is no constraint on which should, like a newspaper, the front page space that needs to be occupied by certain stories. And when we are giving a more in-depth treatment to a particular story, so that will have more impact of that story for the reader. So there are different types of writings in magazine, which will have extended feature stories, article on personalities. It will have a lot of analytical and interpretive information for reader to benefit from the what are those impacts of say budget in his life. It will also be covered travel log. So we have broadly covered the most important part of that. If you have any questions about it, we'll be happy to answer it. Thank you for your patient listening.
So that's about the video. So if you look at this unit number 3, it's a kind of summary of the entire course. You will find a separate unit on headlines writing, editorial writing, feature writing, and photos and all the subsequent blogs. You will find the more detailed units on the topics covered in this presentation as well as a unit. And we will have another 5-8 minutes time for question and answer discussion. So basically, if you look at the unit, talks about how to find the different kinds of story, like a hard story and soft story, how to write a story, an inverted pyramid, and headlines, how to put the headline. These all looks very theoretical while reading, but I strongly recommend you to practice it, because journalism, many senior journalists, if you talk to them, it's very difficult to teach journalism. It has to come by practice, and many people will argue like that. University degrees are more theoretical, but when you want to go for field, you should do it. You have to practice it. That's a main point. Many people, if you interact with the senior journalists, they'll inform that way only. But that's one of the reasons why, if you look at our assignments, practicals, and other activities, we have given this kind of assignments only, writing assignments. And this is a continuation of first two units. Basics of writing, how what needs to be considered while writing, mind mapping, essay note taking, and all other allied activities. Then how to write it effectively, that's a continuation of second unit. And that's a kind of two foundation for how to write for a better presentation. But if you look at the first three units, all the three presentation, one point again is repeating. Understand your reader, and that point I think repeatedly highlighted in all the three units. I think you need to understand that concept very clearly. Then only you can put because ultimately this is the meant for somebody else. We are not writing for ourselves. We are communicating to somebody else, either the visual format or the written format. So that's a very important point. Keep it in mind, because thesis writing is different. Because I know, or you know, or whoever writing the thesis or research article, and the reader going to be somebody knows subject, or at least knows the methodology or research academic side. Okay, and so automatically you'll write accordingly. But while writing a news, completely different. We may not know whether the other person knows the full details about the background of the event or not. So keeping in that mind, if it is a language press or English one, or vernacular, or radio channel, or television news channel, all you need to fine tune yourself according to your target group, right? So thanks Vishwas and Juhi for your presentation. If you have some observation or questions.
So I have a query.
Yeah.
It was for the formula is for 2:20. That I couldn't get. The formula for 2:20.
Mm-hmm.
Could you please elaborate that one?
That's related to headlines.
Simple and grammatically correct. Yes, sir.
Headlines.
Into its writing. Yes, sir. 2 lines. I couldn't get that one.
Basically, headline should be short, and it should cover. It's based on the news magazine or newspaper, and should be more. If it is a 2-column, 3-column story, and most likely you have to stick to the 2 lines only. Now you should not cross the 2 lines. Single column, they will go for multiple lines, and you will learn more
And
about
what is
headlines.
It 20? What is a 20?
20, I haven't noticed.
20
So it is 20 words.
words
20
per
words
line.
in maximum.
Okay, yeah. That may be this. See, these are not a hard and fast rule in the journalism. If it is suppose 5-column story, of course the words may go up. If it is a single column, of course you have to go a little less. And remember that whatever, particularly in the media field, there is no standard definition of, okay, you have to It's not a mathematical formula. There is a variation. You can find lot of variation, and people try to experiment. If you take a Telegraph newspaper from India, and there, I think there the recent case, recently I can notice that kind of very good experiments are happening in playing with the headlines. Look at the Telegraph newspaper. They are first page or second page, wherever they are playing with the very good, innovative, creative headlines. And somebody from Calcutta can give you more, can share the details about that, how they are feeling about the different kinds of headlines being experimented.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you.
So there is one question on YouTube.
Hi, sir.
Nani, just 1 second. There's a question on YouTube chat by Varun. He's asking, is soft news similar to an editorial of the newspaper, as both reports news in a certain different angle?
See, news story is different from editorial. Editorial is the opinion of the particular newspaper, or if it is a column in the editorial page, then it's the opinion of the particular person, maybe the own reporter or invited person. But generally, for editorial, if you say that, that's newspapers stand on any event or any topic. That can vary from any subject. Okay, sometimes sports, sometimes economics, sometimes politics, sometimes culture, sometimes international issues, sometimes social issues. It varies from the depends upon the magnitude of the event in which the newspaper wanted to give some statement. They want to actually there is a statement. They are making a statement through editorial, and they'll maintain the difference in a news story. Whatever opinions being reflected in the editorial, you may not expect similar opinion in the other stories in the same newspaper. But their opinion, that's why they're expressing it in editorial. News supposed to be objective, so they may not mix their viewpoints, at least management's own viewpoint. These are theoretically we are talking about that, but practically, if we analyze the newspaper's performance in the editorial and news stories, you will find a lot of mixing of here and there. That's it's a kind of newspaper is a or any news entity is a commercial operation, and they have pressure, multiple pressures from society, ownership, and political pressure. So they need to operate. They need to operate within the many multiple pressures. So you will find very interesting findings if you read between the lines of, or if you watch it clearly about the news stories are presented in a TV channel. Soft story, news story, which is not hard story. We can divide that hard and soft part. But editorial, I don't think so that can be divided into hard and soft. Yeah, Indrani.
Yes, sir. It was a really nice presentation by Vishwa sir and Joy ma'am. My question is like, as we have this production portfolio as part of the practical, I wanted to know, like, since we have so many kinds of writings and like article writing, magazine writing, feature writing, so can we be using any kind of format while doing this production portfolio? Like, for example, we have a business news report, so it should be like it needs to be like to the point, or regarding a particular event, or can we do a little bit of research and give some analytical kind of report?
See, the data collection or the from where you're getting information, that's your choice. If it is a feature, or you have to write it in a feature, we are given area and the format. Wherever possible, we have given a topic as means the area in which you need to write, and the little bit of information about the format. And then you have a lot of freedom or room to play around with what sort of information from where you have to collect. That you can take a call on that. You don't have to worry about that because we haven't given that much specific details. We have we are keeping that information, that part is open to the students to explore.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
So there are a few more questions on the YouTube chat.
Okay.
This is by Sakshi. She is saying, no, this is by Kathleen. Kathleen is saying, do reporting standards and formats vary across different countries?
Varies based on the political setup and democratic setup and the quality, and then the pressure from the society. Varies from see, journalism is not operating in a vacuum. It's not as standardized across the continents, and it's a social process, and the social process is being influenced by the government setup, the social setup, then the commercial entity. Okay, it varies from country to country, and if it is a democratic country, news media or all the entertainment media, they have much more freedom to explore different aspects, but primarily look at the newspapers or news channels or watchdog. That's a primary role. Watchdog in the sense, then they'll observe the performance of the public institutions. Watchdog means they are representative of the public. It's a fourth pillar. Okay, how can they play fourth pillar or watchdog if there is no freedom of expression, if the freedom is being curtailed, if it is a country which has a limited freedom? So it varies. And some countries the freedom is guaranteed absolutely, and somewhere it's being uh, practiced in a different manner, and all depends upon the political setup and the government governance. Then there is a two more elements like the business operation. Is it operated by non-profit organization, or is it operated for the sake of profit, and how the society responding to that? It varies from country to country. There's no standardization.
Another question is by Sakshi Anand. Are the small boxes in TOI newspaper titled Times View also qualified to be editorials?
Short, yes, it's newspaper's opinion. That's a newspaper's opinion. But normally standardized editorial is there is a separate page on editorial. They'll keep editorial, then they'll keep latest editor or column or cartoon, something like that. Or maybe it spread into the mainly the inner main page. And Times of India is experimenting that wherever the major story, and they're giving their opinion instead of giving one editorial, they're giving small pieces. All depends upon their market. Remember that. Times of India's market, because Times of India believes that their audience are young audience, and they don't have much time to read much of the information. And remember that many of the newspaper readers they'll prefer to read only headlines, and the maximum they'll go up to the intro, headlines, intro, and rarely they'll go up to the last part. So now this is not only a particular newspaper, any newspaper. This is standard readers behavioral pattern of reading newspaper. Okay, so how many people read the newspaper? They must be having some data. So many people not reading the actual editorial, so they're trying to give small components wherever the major stories happen. They are not giving in a Times View all the stories. If you look at the newspaper, they might have given in the major events or the major stories. Anyone
No
which is
more.
not, I don't want to give only my opinion. If anyone wants to add any comments, any response, please participate. I don't want to make it like that. It's just always it's one way around. Any more questions, Garima?
No, sir. No questions on YouTube chat.
Okay, fine. And Viswas, what is your view on these questions and your understanding about the unit?
About the questions, of course, the questions are really interesting and further adds to my insight. And as you said it right about editorial, it is always an observation of the stand that newspaper editorial board and the management wants to take about the particular event, how they look at it, and their perspective is of course, on the international scenario, I was not really aware of. That gave me really good insight from your answer. And definitely the aspect of democracy, or what is that government structure, plays an important role. Freedom of speech, and the fourth pillar angle that you brought in is really important. People talk about curtailing freedom of speech, and even currently people talk about the Indian media. There are a lot of questions being asked about the stand taken on various aspects. So, well, this is really good discussion, and the team is asking really good, bringing out nice points which can be added further into our presentations and enhances our learning.
Yes,
Thank you.
correct. Yes, correct. But this is for the people who are in the Google Meet as well as in the YouTube or who are watching that. Remember that I sent one questionnaire sometime back before 2-3 weeks back. I think I sent it to your email.
Namaste. Ni hao.
Oh,
Bonjour.
wait a minute.
Hola. Hello.
Okay. So if you look at the questionnaire, and we were trying to give some sort of indication to you that in after degree, or maybe some of you might be working, or some of you wants to enter the industry, but how do you want to shape your career? And if you look at the career option, and that's what, if you look at the questionnaire, you'll understand very clearly. Is it you want to work for money, or you want to work for a popularity, or you want to work for somebody else, or for society? There are a lot of ways in which you have to fine tune, because everybody life has its own your own what do you call, your own vision or your own ambition, whatever way. But when it comes to journalism, there are certain ways in which you can explore and you can excel, right? So you need to think about that if you are young and want to enter the industry, and already are in the industry, already are working on that. This is just for career improvement. So you can take a different dimension that, so that you have to introspect what way you want to proceed. Okay, news is one outlet, and what do we need to do the journalism? I told you that it's a newspaper is not for the um, mm, just for informing the people. It's basically it's a watchdog. How far the Indian newspapers or magazines are performing, or channels are performing as a watchdog? That you have to introspect. How way, what way, why particular stories become a main story in a front page? You need to ask question why. Always ask if one of the main question as a journalist is, you need to question the every aspect. So identifying a news should be part of your lifestyle, right? And whenever you look at, you go around, because news is available everywhere. You should have the sense that find the right method. That's how, if you can develop that way, and people who are working that they can share this kind of information, that very difficult to teach you how to write a story. But the news, getting a news, that you need to adapt into your lifestyle if you want to be a journalist. And those who are working in a journalist, they can tell you that their experience. Okay, so that's a basic crux of the unit. And next unit is about translation. We are moving a little we are shifting the focus from the main process to the translation part, but particularly the people like a multicultural society like India, where we have a wide variety of the languages. Some of them international language we are practicing. There are a good number of international English language newspapers. There are a good number of regional papers which is cutting across the many states. Like Hindi is quite highly popular, and then there are language like a Bengali, Telugu, Tamil, and Malayalam. If you look at the top 10 newspapers, you will find only two English newspapers, the top 10 highly circulated daily. IRS study, if you take the IRS study. All the remaining 8, the top 2-3 goes for Hindi, then Daily Tanti, then Malayalam Manorama, Amar Ujala, Dainik Jagran. All the regional languages, the dominating sector in the news industry, easily you can say that. and the news because these are newspapers, mostly they are not spread across the country, unlike the major English newspapers. Language papers are confined to one or two states, because the states we have the language based division, right? So they may have major cities outside based on their people, they are the people, the particular language speaking people in that particular region, but they may not have correspondence across the country or across the continents. They have to rely on the news agencies, either in national agencies like PTI, ANI, or UNI, or international like AP or Reuters or AFB, something like that. Right. So PTI they have a Bhasha, but that in Hindi only. So the news operation in the regional language press heavily depend on, other than their own geographical location, beyond that location they are heavily depending on the international agencies, or press releases comes from the central government or comes from the different countries. Mostly these outside resources comes in the English or the national languages, but they need to incorporate those stories into that language editions where the translation plays a major role. The people who are working in the regional language, they need to have a competency in their language and English if they can do it, or Hindi if you can, or national language. If you have these three languages, either mother tongue and national language, international language, then your employability is it's very very high in that part. So in that context only, this unit is being introduced, and there's a video, and the unit is available, and you can read it. And there's a video presentation done by Ritu and Anjana. Okay, I'm doing that. I'm sharing first, then it may take a little time because of the speed. And
so we have one more question.
Yes, who's this? Garima. Okay. Yes, Garima.
This is by Vibhuti Bhushan Goswami. He's saying, sir, is it necessary that headline should always be in present tense?
Mostly, yeah.
That's it.
Okay, I'm presenting this.
So I have a question too on the previous unit.
Unit 3.
Yeah, like about writing part.
Yeah.
So the presentation drafted by Vishwas sir and Juhi was absolutely comprehensive, but there wasn't any real life examples. Like, could you please illustrate some real life examples of feature writing?
Ashwarya, I told you in the beginning, right? This unit is summary. It's a kind of orientation of major topics covered in this course. We have a separate unit on feature writing. We have separate unit on headlines writing. If we go through that particular unit, you will find plenty of detailed explanation on that. But this unit, it's not confined to one format. The entire unit is talking about how to write for print media. Writing for print media. So they're covering a magazine, little bit about magazine, little about headlines, little bit of feature writing, editorial, and all this topic we have separate unit. So it's kind of this orientation. When it comes to the feature writing, you will find that examples, or you can read the unit.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So I'm presenting now, and I'm disabling the video. Okay.
Hello. Welcome to the world of translation.
A very good evening and warm welcome to everyone. In this Unit 4 of MJM022, we are going to talk about translation. So let's begin. So let's begin with a very basic question of what does translation mean? As we all know, it's made up of two very basic. Namaste, ni hao, bonjour, hola, hello. Welcome to the world of translation. A very good evening and warm welcome to everyone. In this Unit 4 of MJM022, we are going to talk about translation. So let's begin. So let's begin with a very basic question of what does translation mean? As we all know, it's made up of two very basic Latin words, trans plus latum, which means carrying across or bringing across a meaning. And if we look at the flow of it, there is a source text, we find the meaning, and that meaning we transfer into the target language. We re-express it into the target language. But the question here is this process really that simple? Absolutely not. Because language itself is not that simple. It's an amalgamation of several other things. So there are around 7,000 languages spoken around the world, and each language has its own roots, its own history, its own traditional values, and societal norms and beliefs. So a language is made up of several other components. So while translating, we have to carry the essence of the source language to the target language. That's very important and crucial. There are basically two kinds of equivalents which are important in translation, formal and functional. In formal equivalence, the focus is more on the grammar, syntax, and structure. For example, if one is trying to translate a song, the focus would more be on the flow of the song, the syntax and the grammar and the structure of the song, rather than any other thing. So that's more of the form which is important. So that's what formal equivalence is. When I talk about functional equivalence, it focuses more on finding the meaning. So the translator tries to understand the concept and then they try to translate it into the target language. For example, Ramayana has been translated into several languages, and still, if you read Ramayana either of Kamban or of Tulsidas, the content or the meaning remains the same. That's the beauty. So that's more of functional equivalence in translation. Coming to another very important aspect, that is importance of translation. The foremost importance that I consider of translation is that it's essential for the growth of national and local culture and literature. For example, if you want to know about the 16th century European world, all you need to do is to go pick up a Shakespearean book and then just read it and understand how it must have been. If somebody wants to understand an Indian culture, all they have to read is pick up a Ramayana or maybe any other book and then just figure out the culture, explore it. So, yes, it's a joy to see several other cultures and traditions and explore literature. Without translation, it's really not possible. Revival of learning. So there are several ancient factors, cultures, ways of living, ancient knowledge which has come to us because of translation. If translations were not there, probably we would be deprived of several mine of informations and knowledge that we have today. Tool of empowerment. So language itself is a very powerful tool. It's the word that carries the power. And there have been several movements, like to talk about women's movement. There have been several writers from different cultures, from different nations that have been translated and helped, the women in the other countries to understand their plight and to fight against. During national independence movement, it was because of translation that people from different languages in our country came together and they were united. And also, we got informations from Britishers and other countries, and we could use it as a tool to empower ourselves. Enrichment of languages. So what happened when we translate something? Gradually, our words become part of the other language, and the words from the other language become part of our language. For example, Dangri. Dangri is a very local word. So Dangri was first worn by laborers from Dongar area in Bombay, and gradually it became part of the vocabulary, English vocabulary. Bungalow basically means a Bengali house, which gradually went on to become an English word. Same way, train or cricket, these are English words. However, we know the Hindi words for these, same words, but we prefer to use it as, it is train, cricket. Nobody says law patigamini. I mean, I hardly know someone. So, yes, it enriches the languages in the process. Necessary for effective and empathetic communication between different cultures. Imagine if we didn't know how to translate, and if we didn't know how to translate our feelings in different languages, probably we would be deprived of communicating with any person who speaks the other language. So yeah, it's really really important. Promotes business, tourism, and commercial growth. Definitely, in this globalized world, if we want to promote our business or anything, it's utmost important to know the other language and to be able to translate. Now, when we talk about the scope of translation, the scope is as wide as you can imagine, right? From government job, desktop, to the secretarial job, from publication houses where the books are being translated on everyday basis, print and electronic media, the news channels are, they're in different languages, the print media is in different languages, they all are into bilingual publications. Everybody needs translation in travel and tourism, especially when you are inviting people from other countries. Even as a guide or someone, you definitely need to know the other language. For business expansion, for legal transaction, there are legal battles between people from different background and different languages, and it becomes very crucial to know the language and to have the exact accurate translation. For research in the advertising industry, like you would see one ad in several languages running on the TV, especially on the YouTube. So if you're in Bengal, you would see the same ad in Bangla, and if I'm in Maharashtra, I would see the same ad in Marathi. So yeah, there. And obviously in film and television, because nowadays each film is being translated into multiple languages. So definitely the scope of translation is immense, and so is the job opportunity in this sector. Moving on to the methods of translation, there are several types: words for words, sense for sense, literal or faithful translation, creative or free translation, full translation, partial translation, adaptation, appropriation, transcreation, and transliteration. Word to word is basically where you replace one word to the other, like roti or bread, uncle or chacha. uh, Creative or free translation is the most popular one, where you take the liberty and you try to convey the sense or the essence of what's being said in the source language rather than focusing on words. There are some translation which are done fully. That's what we call full translation. In some translation, you would see that they are only partially translated, like certain songs, where you would see that certain part of the song has been retained from the source language. That's what we call partial translation. Adaptation is basically used in plays or poetry or theater purpose. In appropriation, you take the text far from the source language and you try to appropriate it and you try to add on to it. So, in a ideal kind of translation, several methodologies are used together to bring in the holistic meaning.
Now let's see the process of translation. Essentially, there are three phases of translation: analysis, transference, and restructuring. Analysis means that a translator tries to first decode the message in the source text and understand its meaning on various parameters. Then a translator tries to transmit that information from source text to target text. The translator keeps in mind that the communicative value is conveyed, as well as the most important information in the source text is also present in the target text. The last phase is restructuring, wherein approximation can happen for the source text into target text to make it most suitable for the end user. Now let's focus our attention on literary translation. There are two distinct approaches when it comes to literary translation. One which believes that translation is a little art and there can be creativity and flexibility used to enhance meaning. The other which believes that translators do not have much of a choice and there are very less creative angle added. Let's see some common challenges that is posed while a literary work is translated. The first and the foremost challenge is the difference between the structure, grammar, and lexical unit of source and target text. The second challenge is around the unique vision or temperament of the writer and the need of expressing that feeling. Sometimes for translators, it can be difficult to understand that emotion and express it. Another challenge, which is more commonly seen, is for poetic work and visual description, which in general have a sound effect and also carry a creative angle. At times, during translation, that sound effect, rhyme, alliteration, etc., may get lost. Another challenge, and which is one of the most important challenge, is the cultural aspect. Due to the influence of culture in the source language, there are certain text or words or sentences like metaphors, proverbs, idioms, etc., which can not be translated from source text to target text. And translators do face a lot of challenge while dealing with this aspect.
Okay, since we are all student of media course, what are the principles that has to be kept in mind while translating for media? Very simply, it has to be simple and short. But while keeping it simple and short, we also have to make sure that it catches the attention of the reader or the viewer. And while keeping the attention intact, you also have to make sure that the same sense has been translated, which was there in the source language. There are three very basic principles that one needs to keep in mind. Use of short paragraph, not too much information in one paragraph. Each paragraph should have one major information, and each paragraph should handle, a very basic information in entirety. There should be short sentences which definitely help to understand it easily and doesn't let the interest be lost. And you have to use the language which is the spoken language, because when we talk about the media, there are people from all walks of life, so we cannot keep it very difficult or a very complicated genre. Print media, the language must be formal, it should be crisp, and it should be something that an educated as well as a neoliterate can understand, and definitely the headline must be catchy. Moving on to electronics media, the conversational language is preferred over a very formal language. The airtime is limited, and we have to make sure that whatever information is being conveyed has to be chronological and in a simple and crisp way, because the viewer cannot go back and review it. And definitely it has to match up with the visuals. Moving on to films and television, it's definitely growing as a very vast industry, and thanks to this, we are now aware of different cultures, art, and literature forms. Not just words, but through multiple semiotic channels, the information is translated here. The characters, the music, the background music, everything. And the main translation modes of this particular unit are dubbing and voiceover and subtitles. Subtitling is not at all an easy job. The most important aspect is while writing the subtitle, one must be aware of the cultural values of the target language and the source language. It should maintain the pace with the screen. And again, since the viewer has to read it in a limited time, it should be very small, crisp, and clear. Dubbing is definitely something, which should focus more on the lip movement. So it should carefully match with the lip movement of the source language. It's for the ears, it's not to be read. So it should look natural when it's coming in the different language. And it should just try to keep the content raw and use the flair of the characters, and should also try to retain some words which are, jargons of that particular language. That would help a lot.
Moving on to understand the strategies of translation for media. The first focus is the audience. A media translator should understand the need of the target audience, their maturity level, and their expectation. Next is the culture. The final target text should blend with the cultural aspect and also convey the right meaning. Then another strategy can be around idea, so that a clean, clear, and crisp idea is delivered. The next strategy that a media person can adopt is to have a wide knowledge base and familiarity of tools like glossary, encyclopedia, etc., to produce a very effective target text. Another strategy that can be applied is the style, so that the writing or the last translation is very attractive and very readable. And the last stage or the last strategy that can be used for media translation is a review process, wherein a person or a media translator should review the final target text and also seek an expert view. With this, we come to the conclusion of this unit. Let us summarize what we have learned so far. Translation is an art and it's a complicated work. It requires immense amount of patience, knowledge, and hard work. It has bridged a gap between two cultures, languages, and customs, and it has a very wide scope. There are essentially three principles of translation for media: the use of short paragraphs, short sentences, and spoken language. Since media writing is very crisp and clean, translation should also follow the same rule so that the readers can understand the intent. A translator is a recreator. He and she or she should have a clear understanding of the source language and the target language, also the cultural and the various background associated. Thank you for listening.
Okay. Right. Okay. That's about translation. Many thanks to Ritu and Anjana. You can see a lot of animation and better presentation in the translation unit, right?
Yes, sir. Very, very interactive and very nice presentations. Like just looking at it, you can understand what they are trying to portray.
And the only drawback is they had crossed the 15 minutes. I don't know whether you noticed it or not. Now I can understand that why I'm saying the video should be short.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's another couple of minutes because at 12:30 I have another session and I have to wind up. And any quick questions, 2-3 questions, we can wind up by 12:25.
Sir?
Yes, Manoj.
Sir, can we have a presentation of other application like Scribus and Photoshop and publishing applications?
Software presentation?
Yes.
That can be done only through demo only, not through presentation.
Okay.
It can be done because we experimented that Skypers one. Skypers. If people are interested, tell me. I can arrange the workshop.
Okay, sir. That will be really great.
But I need numbers.
Okay.
One or two people I can't manage it. Good
Yeah,
number
that's
comes,
right.
but should not cross 100. Google
Yeah.
Meet only, not through live stream. Should be, because it should be interactive, and you need to learn. You have to practice and you have to learn.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So any one day you keep it for a workshop to use these softwares like Skypers, Photoshop, OBS. Any one day you keep it for a workshop only.
Arita, I can't plan it that way, and you have to whoever wants to take initiative, plan it, and we can do it. Don't put all the responsibility to me. I can't do that way. Okay.
So we are new to this one. That's why I'm telling you.
I'm ready to be part of that, but you can work with me, and we can schedule it. No problem.
Sir, I can give a workshop on this Photoshop, Corel Draw.
Fine. Most welcome. The Skypers also, I'm not going to give a demo.
Yeah, I can do that one, sir.
We have Manoj. We have a lot of experts in your batch and senior batch. I don't need to go around any people like you are a photo specialist in the Photoshop, right? Like that, we have a lot of experts.
Yeah, I can conduct a workshop on this area.
Anything on PPT presentation, then Anjana will be expert. And
sure.
Oh, that is so kind of you. I'm not an expert. I am just an intermediate beginner.
Right. Skypers means I'll ask Rajnish to give demo. He's from the first batch. Like that, we have people. Don't worry. We have a lot of people. Every aspect of media, we have expert.
Great.
Okay. So, Manoj, if you are interested, tell me.
Yes, sir. I am interested. I can do that one.
Okay.
Sir, I am also interested for the workshop of Skypers.
No, Arita, Manoj's level is different. He's saying he'll give a workshop, and you are saying you want to participate. That's a lot of difference.
Yes, I want to participate. Might be many other students also want to participate in these workshops.
Somebody has to take initiative.
And sir, even I want to learn actually in the ABCD stage of software and all. So better to be guided by experts like Manoj and all.
Manoj, keep in touch with me, and we can schedule it. And
sure. Thank
last batch,
sure, sir. Thank you.
Last batch we did one workshop on photojournalism. So we have one student in the first batch. He's a photographer with the International European News Agency. He's a very experienced person, and he did a 2 days or 3 days workshop, and the face of the voice got changed because of that 2 days, and 1 hour only, 2 hours only. And Harish Tyahi, good, excellent workshop on photojournalism. And like that, if you are interested, come forward. And I'm just like a Ola Uber, just give a platform. That's it.
Sir, I am ready. I am in.
I am ready. If you're ready for 100%, I'm ready for 102%. Okay. Always I'll take 2% extra. Yeah. Okay, right. Thank you. Any other questions specifically to unit number 4 rather than other questions? Okay, right, fine. And thanks, many thanks. And
but I have a question.
Yes, Garima.
It's not related to translation, but it's a general observation that I was having. Everyone is saying even the news, online news is also getting shorter and crisper so that people don't give much time to it. Don't we lose certain information because of that? We might miss out on something because since the word limit is getting smaller and only the basic information maybe we can put in it and not the detail. Like earlier in the newspaper, we used to get detailed information. I have seen certain online magazines where we still get a little detailed information about news and all. Example I can give is one of our batchmate. He has his magazine, Inventia, something like that. I read an article on it, and it was a brilliant article, fully detailed with all background and everything. But these days, everything is getting shorter and crisper because we don't have time and we don't want to spend so much time on it.
That's because due to your generation and with the Facebook and Twitter, you want to read everything within 256 characters. So that's a behavior you people developed. So automatically you are not ready, because once you are confined to that 256, you may not go beyond that. And automatically, when you see the article with 10, 15 paragraphs, automatically psychologically, oh my god, this is too big to read. So you skip it to the other platform. Magazines are still going on with that big articles, but youngsters, new generation X and Y, they are more into the online, and the news preferences also got changed, and people are reading more news in their social media rather than the professional news platform. News sharing is rampantly happening. That's because the generation is changing, technology is integrated with the life and changes our reading behavior, and that's one of the reasons why even newspapers have started writing very like a Twitter, like a Facebook, like a small paragraph and small thing, all due to the changes happening in the environment, lifestyle.
Okay, thank you. One more question, though it's not related to MJ24. Sorry. Yesterday we had a class on media education concepts and practices on Gyan Darshan. Will it be a part of MJ24?
No.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. And I have another session. Okay, we will catch up in the Telegram as well as the group.
Okay,
good
sir.
news is,
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Good news is
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Good news is IGNOU is now A++. Okay, so we are the top-rated institution.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you, sir, and congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, for presentation.
Right.
Thanks, everyone.
Today's
Bye-bye.
presentations are really good. Thank you all.